1,000 people sitting down someplace, not letting anybody by, not letting anything happen, can stop any machine, including this machine, and it will stop. And the greater the number of people, the safer they'll be, and the more effective it will be.
In the last video, I showed a lot of pictures from well-known protests. The Seattle WTO protests, the Atlanta Stop Cop City protests, the Dakota Access Pipeline protests, Occupy Wall Street. And I presented one categorization, one way to measure one thing about a protest. Is it symbolic or concrete? AKA, is it an undefined and vibesy community expression of frustrations and values? Or is it a goal-oriented action that aims to accomplish something specific? This last year has shown us some flashy moments of symbolic protests that expose the breadth of support for Palestine, for immigrants, for trans people, against authoritarianism. And the last year has shown us some incredible examples of concrete protests where individuals make use of their station or their profession or their location or their skill set and a hell of a lot of bravery to make a dent in systems of oppression and war. Civilians surrounding ICE vehicles have a concrete goal. These civilians want to stop or delay the progress of those ICE officers conducting that raid, to get ICE out of that neighborhood on that day. Not merely to demonstrate a lack of public support, but to make it more costly and inconvenient to continue operations. And those spun out into protests of a more symbolic nature, where citizens took to the streets to demonstrate solidarity with their neighbors and against the US government's deportation machine. Symbolic protests that have no concrete demands or even exist within the official apparatus of the system nevertheless serve as a temperature check, to signal that support exists between wide bastions of like-minded people. This can be energizing, reassuring, inspiring, and unifying at a time when dissent feels hopeless. It is much easier to dissent when you have visible evidence that a large part of your community agrees with you. It doesn't mean they're all going to have your back in the way you need them to have your back. Rather, it raises the public baseline. But today, let's talk about that other type of action. Those moments of opportunity where a few well-positioned individuals stand their ground and say, "Not while I'm here."
Στον σφαγιασμό και στη γενοκτονία του Παλαιστινιακού λαού και τη συμμετοχή της χώρας μας στους ιμπεριαλιστικούς πολέμους. Είμαστε εδώ για να μπλοκάρουμε τη μεταφορά 5 κοντέινερ. Είμαστε εδώ πέρα για να πούμε ότι τα χέρια μας θα λερώνονται μόνο από τα γράσα και τη μουτζούρα στο βαπόρι και όχι από το αίμα των λαών.
We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers. The only weapon we have is our bodies, and we need to tuck them in places so that wheels don't turn.
Dirt in a cog, also grit in the machine, sand in the gears, refers to the way that gears will slow, jam up, go crooked, and otherwise not work right if they're dirty. It may not totally shut down the machine, but it'll make it a hell of a lot harder to run. You know.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart, that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop.
And then the Lincoln Park comes in. All over the country, individuals are distributing leaflets to inform people of their rights. They are recording ICE from a distance to make it less likely they'll overstep legal boundaries. They're creating group chats to alert their neighbors when ICE is spotted nearby. They are making themselves aware of where day laborers tend to post up in their area so they can inform them of upcoming raids. The concrete goal here is to have fewer people in vulnerable positions, to make raids less successful. People are bearing witness to misconduct, they are blocking cars, they are pressuring agents into resignation, they're attempting to clog hotlines. And they are stepping up in moments when they are in the right place at the right time. This is where we all find our roles, not only in grand scheduled public displays, but opportunistically in everyday life. It is our role not to comply. And if you can't outright refuse, you can delay. You can not remember. You can misplace. You can have to get back to someone later. You can take advantage of strategic snark. It's a lot harder to crack down on someone that the public can recognize as just being kind of funny. And you can support others in obstructing with supplies, encouragement, and at a very base level, you can educate and you can signal. I accidentally invented a taxonomy. That's my only real skill on this channel. Here it is on screen. Think of all the roles you hold in life. Shopper, sports team member, driver, neighbor, employee, musician. Musician again.
There's absolutely no way that I could perform across a picket line when I know that people are out there fighting for a living wage. I'm not doing that.
Bystander. That's an important one. That's a role you hold every day. And think of the opportunities you are presented in those roles to maximize good and minimize evil. 1,000 little actions add up to create the culture we live in. Think about living your day and making your decisions in ways that create discomfort for oppressors and create relief for the marginalized. Yes, continue educating yourself and others. Continue signaling your personal values day to day and boosting the good work of others. And, additionally, challenge yourself to take the next step. Go from believing to signaling. Go from signaling to supporting. And if you can, go from supporting to obstructing.
And you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
There was one woman, a white woman, holding a coffee. And she kept sitting down in front of an ICE vehicle, and they couldn't get out because she would just stand up and sit back down. And they were trying to get around her, and she just was like, no, just got up and sit back. So we need the audacity. This is I don't ever want audacity of white women. Here, we need an army of Karens.
Yeah.
It's hard to take the next step in resisting. So you need to build your chops a little bit at a time. Imagine what it would look like to take steps to hold active stewardship over your surroundings. Don't just lament a sticker for a right-wing podcast at your bus stop. Stop what you're doing and take the time to remove it. Carry a Sharpie around to counter vandalism. Print out or order your own stickers. Signaling feels small, but don't forget that it's a part of solidarity. If you're in a divided area, especially if you look, let's say, politically ambiguous, don't be. Remove yourself from the pool of plausible fascist supporters. Casually wear your beliefs. Delay can be resistance. Remember those environmental reviews Diana was triggering? Seriously, if existing laws and procedures give you a little bit of buffer, lean into those. It doesn't matter who set the laws or set the policies. If you can delay, use them to your advantage. Ask for more detail. Give the longest time estimate you can get away with giving. Work slowly. Ask a lot of questions. Expose all hypocrisies and dig into every ambiguity. Request another meeting. Ensure everything's happening according to the letter of the law. Refuse to admit ICE into your hospital or school. Cite existing policies or legal precedent. Refer to another person. Defer indefinitely. If you are at a workplace that may be amenable to enacting certain policies, maybe you have a cool boss, get them enacted now. You never know how this will help your future obstructionist coworkers. I swear, don't be evil was the greatest gift given to organizers at Google. Many victories were won on culture alone, and Google has spent a decade slowly clawing that gift back. Just because it won't work forever doesn't mean it's not impactful now. And remember, part of resistance is fighting the bastards trying to build a worse world. And part of resistance is building mechanisms of safety and support to actively create a better world. That's why the first item in the Dirt in a Cog zine is be nice to a stranger. Help people break out of their fear and anger by embodying that people are good, safe, and take care of each other by default. Take inventory of your skills and resources. A spare room? Who can you host, even if it's just for a few nights? Offering a cheap or free room is an incredible asset to your community. Are you a business owner? Can you allow an organization to use your space for free outside of business hours? Do you know how to fix a bike? Edit a resume? Create a flyer? Tend a garden? Patch a coat? Manage an email list? The skills and knowledge that you take for granted can be massively helpful to the people and organizations around you. Be creative and always remind yourself of the concrete goal, no matter how small. I am giving this person a better day. I am delaying this policy as long as I can. I am giving away 10 free apples. I am hosting someone for 5 days. I am stopping this raid on this day from kidnapping someone. I am keeping this person out of harm's way for 1 more day.
Alien not signed by a judge. It's not a judicial warrant. I have no obligation to oblige by that warrant.
Acts of disobedience are of interest to us when they are exemplary, and especially when, as examples, they set off a chain reaction, prompting others to emulate them. Then we are in the presence less of an individual act of cowardice or conscience, perhaps both, than of a social phenomenon that can have massive political effects.
For over a decade, dockworkers' unions in Italy, Sweden, France, the United States, Greece, and elsewhere across the globe have led actions refusing to load weapons shipments bound for Israel.
Current young membership of IOWU Local 10 answering the call.
These dockworkers have a concrete goal: to halt or inconvenience the shipment of weapons of war or parts used in their manufacture. Earlier this year, French dockworkers led a successful blockade, with a ship leaving France without the parts it was set to load. Their resistance sparked additional resistance from Italian dockworkers. The same ship was set to dock next in Genoa.
Multiplied many thousandfold, such petty acts of refusal may, in the end, make an utter shambles of the plans dreamed up by generals and heads of state.
Actions are often contagious and inspirational. They give people ideas. They make them feel less alone in executing on those ideas. This is why we need our labor force to feel supported, emboldened, and to feel that resistance is good and normal.
If longshoremen decide they're not going to cross the picket line, then the Zim ship that's coming in is not going to be worked. And that's going to be repeated around the world in Norway, Sweden, South Africa.
These blockades have not held indefinitely. But just because something is not going to work forever doesn't mean it isn't impactful now. Resistance is ongoing.
Such acts of what I have elsewhere called everyday forms of resistance have had enormous, often decisive effects on the regimes, states, and armies at which they are implicitly directed.
Look for moments that make you realize, wait, I can do that? Look for opportunities to inspire that in others. Think of what your unique position in your job, in your neighborhood, and just moment to moment in your daily life could embolden you to do. To act in ways that are just, to build the capacity and willpower of the people around you to do the same. That's what building a better world looks like.